When we're writing lyrics, why is it so hard to say how we feel in a way that hasn't been said a gajillion times before? It's a constant struggle to find fresh ways to write about overused topics like love or heartbreak. Well, any topic at this point, right? But one way we can write lyrics in a more unique way is by giving our words a simultaneous meaning. Now that might sound complicated, but it's actually quite simple. Think of it this way. If you were doing a jigsaw puzzle and you found a piece that was, say, a nose, what would you likely do next? You'd probably start looking for the rest of the pieces that make the face, right? Because having that specific piece lets you make a connection to the bigger picture and gets you using your imagination, which is the whole fun of doing puzzles, right? And a simple way to give our words a simultaneous meaning is to use pieces of a thing to talk about the thing itself. Let me show you what I mean. Look at these three examples and see if you can spot what they all have in common.
Lend me your ears and white lips, pale face, breathing in snowflakes. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones.
In all of those examples, they're using body parts to talk about people. When you talk about a whole thing using just a piece of it, it's called synecdoche. Well, lots of people already know this. Synecdoche's real superpower comes from knowing how and, more importantly, when to use it. Because if done right, it won't just make your lyrics more unique, it allows you to add deeper layers of meaning to your lyrics at the same time. And this can solve a huge issue I see with most songwriters I coach in using poetic techniques to write more original and unique lyrics. Have a look at this example.
She showed me a room, isn't it good? Norwegian wood.
In a recent article, Time magazine put down pop music, and they referred to Day Tripper as being about a prostitute, and Norwegian Wood as being about a lesbian. Now, I just wanted to know what your intent was when you wrote it, and what your feeling is about the Time magazine criticism of the music that is being written today.
We were just trying to write songs about prostitutes and lesbians, that's all.
You'll often hear people call a thing by what it's made of, like saying plastic when you're talking about credit cards. Again, it's using a piece of something to talk about the whole thing, and that's what's happening here. Norwegian Wood was a cheap pine wall paneling that was popular at the time, but as Paul McCartney said, it's not as good a title, is it? Cheap Pine Baby. And apart from making a more unique lyric, the synecdoche tells us something about the other character in the song by painting us a picture of what our house looks like. It's revealing something deeper. That specific piece lets us make the connection to the bigger picture of what that person is like. See, you'll often hear that if you use metaphors and other poetic techniques, it's going to help you write better lyrics. But if you don't know what you're actually trying to say with the poetic language that you're using, it can turn your lyrics into something abstract, confusing, or worst of all, you run the risk of losing the meaning of what you're trying to say. And this is a trap that's easy to fall into, especially as a beginner. I know I did. So, how can we avoid it? Look at the Coldplay example again. When you hear the phrase skin and bones, you think of someone who's really thin or frail. So it suggests vulnerability and something fragile. So he's saying he loves this person completely with all their imperfections and their vulnerabilities by using those specific pieces. And there's power in that simplicity. If he had used a metaphor to suggest vulnerable and fragile, we could have ended up with something like, you're a butterfly emerging from a cocoon in the melting snow, and you know I love you so. Now, I know that's a bad metaphor, but that's exactly the point. Metaphors are powerful. But to create a good metaphor, most of the time it's usually really flippin' hard unless you've put in the time and the work to exercise those metaphor muscles. But synecdoche can give you all the benefits of a metaphor without having to come up with that unique comparison or running the risk of morphing your idea into something else entirely. Plus, it's going to sound poetic while at the same time being conversational and grounded in reality. So you can reveal something deeper without losing the meaning. But to reveal something deeper, you have to have something deeper to reveal. And that's why you need to get your first draft down and make it say what you mean. And to help you do that, I've put together a cheat sheet that can help you write your first draft fast. It shows you how to whip up all the raw material you need in 5 minutes flat, how to nail your song's core idea and easily turn it into a powerful chorus. And it's going to show you a genius tool for creating vivid details to flesh out your song sections that's used by everyone from Bob Dylan to Taylor Swift. It's totally free and the link's in the description if you want to check it out. And once you know what you're trying to say, you can start using synecdoche to add depth and originality to your lyric writing. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing to do is the easiest, but it's also the easiest thing to overlook. We can often be too close to what we're writing, and it can be hard to see what else a given lyric could be, how else we might be able to say something. And like any poetic technique, synecdoche is most effective when you don't overuse it or throw it in at random. So you start by looking for opportunities where you can use synecdoche where it's going to have the most impact. Look for words and phrases that are general or abstract or vague and cliche. For example, let's say we had a simple phrase that's authentic, you really mean it, but it's just too generic and cliche. Something like, I'll never forget you. So next, make sure you're clear about what this means to you in the context of the song. Because remember, we're not just trying to reword the lyrics here, we want to reveal a deeper meaning. And what I want to say with this phrase isn't just, I'll remember you in the future. I want to show the impact this person has had on me and my life. So the deeper meaning behind this idea is, they're ingrained in who I am. And now I can start brainstorming and listing out pieces that have significance to that idea, that hold the spirit of its meaning. So I don't want to use surface level pieces like say hands or face. I want to go deeper. For example, I'm thinking of things like in my veins, my bones, blood, under my nails. Then I can replace that simple phrase with one of those ideas, or I could even use them all and turn them into a whole song section. Now, while all this is extremely important, it's actually useless unless you can set your ideas up to cause those emotions and deeper meanings to hit hard and in the right way. And if you watch this video next, I'll show you a simple way to amplify the emotion in your lyrics and create a more engaging experience, and not just for the listener, but for you when you're writing the song.